Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack a truly fascinating piece of everyday science. We're essentially playing botanical detective today. We've got this highly detailed gardening log, specifically part 934 of a journal by a gardener named Ang from June 23, 2026. And what we're looking at isn't just some boring record of shoving a seed in the dirt. It's actually a wonderfully relatable micro-mystery. It's all about plant propagation, super careful observation, and the scientific method playing out literally right in a suburban front yard. It's the exact kind of everyday citizen science any of us can do, and it all starts with one really simple observation.
So, the journal kicks off with, "Dear Interweb." I mean, how charming is that? It's informal, sure, but it actually tells us exactly what kind of document we're dealing with today. This totally establishes the personal, primary source vibe of the gardening log we're examining. We're getting a direct, totally unfiltered window into Ang's thought process as it's unfolding in real time. This isn't some dry, peer-reviewed textbook, right? It's the raw, enthusiastic notes of a deeply focused learner running field experiments right at home. It's science in its absolute most approachable form.
And this brilliantly illustrates how Ang set up a fantastic foundation for this little experiment. Because if you're going to test whether a specific plant's seeds will actually sprout, well, you need clear controls. Think about it. By using a totally brand new pot and filling it with fresh potting soil, Ang purposefully eliminated a massive variable, leftover rogue seeds from previous seasons that just might be hiding in old dirt. Then the spent or dried up floss flower, which is also known as ageratum, was placed directly into this highly controlled environment. So the stage was perfectly set for nature to do its thing.
But nature, as pretty much any gardener will tell you, is remarkably unpredictable. So I want you to put yourselves in the gardener's muddy shoes for a second. You've set up your experiment, you've watered the dirt, you've waited, and then, boom! Suddenly these unexpected little green sprouts start pushing up from the soil in that fresh pot. Your immediate reaction? Probably a jolt of pure excitement. But that's usually followed closely by a wave of suspicion. Ang immediately had to stop and ask a really fundamental question. Are these actually the floss flowers I tried to plant, or did something else completely random just blow in on the wind?
Now, what's really interesting about this deductive reasoning is how Ang tackles the two primary suspects for the identity of these mystery sprouts. Suspect number one? Basil. Ang notes that the general shape of the new little leaves looks incredibly similar to basil. But hold on, before anyone starts gathering ingredients for pesto, Ang looks a little closer and spots a vital physical clue. Basil leaves typically have a rounded shape. Plus, a quick scan of the surrounding area reveals there are absolutely zero mature basil plants with spent flowers anywhere near the front yard. Okay, scratch basil. Now let's look at suspect number two, the floss flower, or ageratum. The physical evidence shows that the seedlings in the pot actually have pointed ends on their leaves, which is completely unlike basil. And honestly, the most compelling piece of circumstantial evidence, a spent floss flower was intentionally placed in this exact fresh pot.
So here's the crucial takeaway. By systematically crossing basil off to suspect list based on leaf shape and, just a lack of basil nearby, Ang is able to arrive at a highly satisfying preliminary conclusion. The seed harvesting approach actually worked. It is incredibly rewarding to see this kind of everyday citizen science validated like this. It really drives home how simple, intentional actions, literally just taking a dried up flower from one plant and popping it directly into fresh soil, can yield such successful botanical propagation. You absolutely do not need a white lab coat to test a hypothesis. Sometimes you just need a trial and a little bit of curiosity.
But, as we all know, science doesn't happen instantly, and neither does gardening, for sure. Looking back at the timeline, in the past, Ang meticulously placed the spent flower in the pot. Today, in the present, those pointed little seedlings are finally visible, which allows for a really strong hypothesis. But to be absolutely 100% scientifically certain, Ang notes that a wait of about 1 more week is required. And honestly, that captures the reality of gardening perfectly. You can do everything right. You can set up the perfect controls, deduce the absolute most logical answer, cross all your fingers, but ultimately, you just have to have the patience to play the waiting game and let nature fully validate your experiment.
Which kind of leaves us hanging just a bit, doesn't it? We're all waiting for that final confirmation. Will the coming weeks actually prove Ang right? Are those pointed little leaves going to mature into undeniable floss flowers? We'll have to see. But it's a wonderful reminder of the constant, quiet drama unfolding in the dirt all around us every single day. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The next time you step outside, what everyday mysteries are sprouting in your own backyard, just waiting for a botanical detective like you to come along and solve them?